In just over a decade, one man reshaped a continent, Napoleon Bonaparte. Emerging from the chaos of revolutionary France, he seized power in a coup in 1799. He quickly became first consul, then crowned himself emperor in 1804, leading France through the Napoleonic Wars. His military strategies and reforms transformed Europe, introducing conscription, new tactics, and the Napoleonic Code. At his peak, he ruled over 2.5 million square miles, spreading nationalism and legal reforms that still echo today. But how did one man rise so far, so fast? Was it genius, luck, or the times themselves? Napoleon's ambition led to perfect storm, crumbling Europe, revolutionary ideas, and a nation desperate for change. Born a Corsican outsider, he saw France as a canvas for ambition, unburdened by old loyalties. His journey from minor nobility to emperor shows what happens when personal ambition meets historical opportunity. Before Napoleon, there was the Revolution, a tidal wave that swept away the monarchy in 1789. The storming of the Bastille signaled the collapse of absolute monarchy and the rise of liberty, equality, fraternity. But hope soon gave way to violence and chaos, as the reign of terror claimed thousands. The old aristocracy vanished, and for the first time, talent could trump birth. France became a nation at war, fighting both internal enemies and coalitions of European monarchies. The army became the main path to power, and generals could become national heroes. Amidst this turmoil, people craved order and a strong leader. The politicians in Paris were seen as weak and corrupt, the army always. The revolution created a vacuum, and Napoleon was ready to fill it. The stage was set for a new kind of leader to emerge. Napoleon was born in 1769 on Corsica, feeling more outsider than French. His father secured him a scholarship to a French military academy, where he was mocked for his accent and background. Isolated, Napoleon immersed himself in history and strategy, studying Alexander and Caesar as blueprints for power. The revolution changed everything. Aristocratic officers fled, and rapid promotion became possible. Napoleon seized the moment, embracing the revolution as a path to glory. His breakthrough came at the Siege of Toulon in 1793, where his artillery plan forced the British and Spanish to flee. For his success, he was promoted to brigadier general at just 24. No longer an unknown, he had proven his brilliance and movement. Napoleon's rise was fueled by ambition, talent, and the chaos of his times. He learned to trust his own judgment and seize every opportunity. The revolution had opened the door, and Napoleon was determined to walk through it. His legend was just beginning. After Toulon, Napoleon's career nearly ended due to political intrigue, but he was soon called upon to save the government from a royalist uprising in 1795. He acted decisively, ordering cannons to defend the Tuileries Palace and unleashing a whiff of grape shot that scattered the mob. Paris hailed him as the savior of the Republic. Promoted to commander of the Army of the Interior, he became a key political player. This new power gave him access to the court of government and the chance to lobby for command of the Army of Italy. The Directory, eager to keep him busy and far from Paris, granted his wish. They had no idea they were unleashing a military phenomenon. Napoleon's reputation for boldness and effectiveness was now cemented. He was no longer just a promising general. He was a force to be reckoned with. The next chapter of his career would change Europe forever. Opportunity and ambition had found their perfect match. In 1796, Napoleon took command of the ragged army of Italy and transformed it into an unstoppable force. He inspired his starving soldiers with promises of glory and riches, winning their fierce loyalty. His tactics, rapid movement, living off the land, and striking isolated enemy units, revolutionized warfare. At battles like Lodi and Rivoli, he outmaneuvered and outfought the Austrians, earning a reputation as a strategic genius. Napoleon also mastered propaganda, sending tales of victory and plunder back to Paris, building his legend. By 1797, he had driven Austria out of Italy, forced a peace treaty, and negotiated as a head of state. In just over a year, he became the most famous man in France. The Directory watched with growing alarm as their hero became a potential rival. Napoleon's military and political skills had made him indispensable and dangerous. He was no longer just a general, he was a national phenomenon. His victories changed the map balance of power, the world was beginning to take notice. Napoleon's star was rising fast. After his triumph in Italy, Napoleon returned to Paris a hero, but his fame made him a threat to the Directory. To sideline him, they proposed an invasion of England, but Napoleon knew France's navy was no match for Britain's. Instead, he launched an audacious campaign in Egypt, aiming to disrupt British trade and emulate Alexander the Great. The Egyptian campaign began with victory at the Battle of the Pyramids, but disaster struck when Nelson destroyed the French fleet at the Battle of the Nile. Trapped in Egypt, Napoleon tried to govern and brought scientists who discovered the Rosetta Stone. Militarily, the campaign stalled, an invasion of Syria failed, and disease ravaged his army. Hearing of chaos back in France, Napoleon abandoned his army and secretly returned home. His Eastern dream was over, but his political ambitions were just beginning. The Directory was collapsing and France needed a savior. Napoleon's return would change the nation's fate. He had gambled and lost in Egypt, but he was ready for his greatest gamble yet. The stage was set for a new seizure of power. France was waiting. Napoleon returned to a France in crisis. Corrupt government, military defeats, and public despair. Conspirators led by CAS saw him as the perfect general to lead a coup. On November 9, 1799, they moved the legislature to St. Cloud under false pretenses, with Napoleon in command of the troops. The coup nearly failed when Napoleon lost his nerve before the Council of 500. His brother Lucian saved the day, rallying soldiers with a dramatic speech and storming the chamber. The Directory was abolished, and a new government of 3 consuls was formed, Napoleon chief among them. He had seized power through a mix of force, drama, and revolution's promise of liberty had given way to a new kind of authority. Napoleon was now the master of France's destiny. The people, exhausted by the war, welcomed his strong hand. The age of the consulate had begun. Napoleon's rise was nearly complete. France would never be the same. The new government was meant to be balanced, but Napoleon quickly outmaneuvered his rivals and concentrated power as first consul. The public, weary of instability, overwhelmingly approved his rule. He reformed government, stabilized finances, and reconciled with the Catholic Church. His greatest legacy was the Napoleonic Code, establishing legal equality and abolishing feudalism. Abroad, he led daring campaigns, defeating Austria again, and bringing peace to Europe by 1802. His popularity soared, and a plebiscite made him first consul for life. But Napoleon wanted more: security, legacy, and a dynasty. In 1804, after surviving a royalist plot, he crowned himself emperor of Notre Dame. The Republic was gone, the empire was born. Napoleon's journey from outsider to emperor was complete. He had remade France and himself. The world watched as a new era began. Napoleon's coronation marked the start of the Napoleonic Wars, reshaping Europe for over a decade. His empire stretched from Spain to Poland, toppling old institutions and installing his family on thrones. His military genius, seen at Austerlitz, set new standards for warfare, mass conscription, flexible corps, and rapid movement. He didn't just win battles. He changed how wars were fought. As his armies marched, they spread revolutionary ideals, abolishing serfdom, introducing legal equality, and modernizing societies. Yet, his rule also sparked fierce nationalism, as conquered peoples resisted French domination. Ultimately, his ambition led to disaster in Russia and united Europe against him. Defeated and exiled, his impact endured. Napoleon embodied both the ideals and contradictions of his age. He brought order from chaos, but crowned himself emperor, betraying the revolution's promise. His legacy is complex, reformer, conqueror, and legend. Napoleon's rise and fall show how one person can shape history, if only for a moment. The world he left behind was forever changed.